Greetings brothers, today we're looking at the company champion slash chapter champion and seeing just how great a model he is for only 70 points. Welcome to the weekly tactics video. I'm John, the Blood Angels commander, and every week on this channel we do various videos designed to make you a better Blood Angels player. If that's something you're interested in, please consider subscribing. So let's start by talking about this company champion. He's on page 143 of the 9th edition Space Marine Codex, and he is just 55 points, and he is a little bit buried away, but he is just 3 power level as well, so that is very interesting if you did want to tactically reserve him. What is interesting with this character is he's weapon skill 2, he has 4 attacks, he has a 2+ and a 5+ invulnerable save. So for 55 points, he's in an okay place, but there's a few ways that we're going to make him better. He is also armed with a bolt pistol, mastercrafted power sword, so once he gets into combat, he has got that weapon skill 2, and he does have those 4 attacks, which can be buffed to 6 with Shock Assault and Savage Echoes. However, he also has 2 unique abilities. They are, he's able to heroically intervene 6 inches, and I guess if he's within engagement range of any enemy character, he will get to fight first. So in the chapter command section of the rulebook, we can pay 15 more points. This will make him -1 to hit in melee combat. It will give him 1 additional attack and 1 more leadership, buffing up to potential 7 attacks once we get to turn 3 and we're in Assault Doctrine. And then finally, he also gets the ability to reroll all wounds against enemy characters as well. So I've actually run this guy as is for 70 points, and he does do a decent amount of attacks, and he'll mop up 2 wound enemy infantry very quickly with his mastercrafted power sword. Probably toughness 4, he'll be wounding on 2s, and with those 7 attacks he can definitely get a job done. However, there's some interesting things we can do with warlord traits. So there is a warlord trait that's specific to the company champion, and that is called Martial Exemplar, and what that does is kind of like Icon of the Angel. Units within 6 inches, core, and characters will be able to reroll charges. So if you did pay the 1 CP to bring him in strategic reserve, and you brought him in tactically within 6 inches of any other deep striking unit, then you're getting a reroll charge on that deep striking unit, which is pretty cool. Alternatively, if you don't want to bring him in and do that, then you could give him something like Imperium Sword to give him that +1 strength on his charge, and also to give him 1 more attack. So you have a 70 point character with 8 attacks, strength 6, -3, 2 damage a shot. So while we normally reserve all our relics for like HQ slots, there is some really interesting synergies that this character can do, and one of which is the Shield Eternal. Because he is wearing that combat shield, it can be replaced with a Shield Eternal to give him that 4+ invulnerable save and the 5+ Feel No Pain. He would still keep his 2-up regular save. We'd also give him the Armored Indomitus, which actually would give him a 1-up regular save if he kept his combat shield, and then he keeps his 5+ invulnerable save, but he would also have that 1 phase per game of a 3+ invulnerable save, and he'd also get an additional wound, so that buffs him up to 5 wounds. There is a couple other options we could take. We could take Burning Blade to upgrade his mastercrafted power sword. We could take the Archangel Shard to upgrade this mastercrafted power sword, and we could also take like the Purgatorus, which is a improved bolt pistol. I don't know if I recommend taking this, but it is something, so I thought I'd list it. Now with all these options on the table, I think the first thing that I wanted to look at was like survivability, and we're going to do Math Hammer here so we can just see exactly how he does. We've looked at the base profile, we've looked at him with the Shield Eternal, and we've also looked at him with Armor Indomitus. So you can see the stats here, and I think when I was thinking about it in my head, I was convinced that the Shield Eternal was going to be by far the best thing that this character could take, but I guess actually what it turns out with me Maths Hammer this, his low number of wounds just at 4, the +1 wound that you would get for the Armor Indomitus giving him the 5 wounds, actually does better against everything except the -4 plasma gun shots. So I guess if you expect this character to be in killing infantry, which I think he does particularly well for only 70 points, then Armor Indomitus actually seems to be the way to go. It also lets you ignore that -1 AP. So I've marked in green the cells that are the best results, and I'll really leave the choice of which survivability option to take up to you. Remember as well, if we paid those extra 15 points from chapter command to give him the upgrade, then he is -1 to hit. So what I've done below is I've actually put the Sanguinar, who would be exactly the same, right? He would be -1 to hit, and he's a 150 point character. So I've compared just how we normally do the survivability. So if all the same weapons were hitting the Sanguinar against how they were hitting this character, and for half the points, I mean, the results speak a lot, right? Like, if you have 70 points in your army, or you're trying to fill something, then if you have a way to get this guy across the battlefield, like a drop pod or a rhino, even better. But even if you don't, this character, once he's in combat, will really pull his weight for his amount of points. So for the math hammer for the damage, we'll skip over this first slide in just a second. This is a slide that I use every week to work out just all the damages, and it kind of plays into the next slide in the final values. What I do want to say is, if you are a member of the channel, you are able to just get access to all these slides via Google Drive, so you can find them quickly and easily and get all the data at your fingertips. If you want to find out more about membership, you can just click the join button below this video. So moving straight on to the next slide about damage then. So for the math hammer, I've compared everything. We've gone with the base profile, we've gone with the base profile with the Savage Echoes, we've gone for the upgraded 15 points, and then with Savage Echoes, we've also looked at adding the Imperium Sword, the Burning Blade, the Archangel Shard. I do think personally that I'm probably going to take the Armor Indomitus, because I think this gives him an extra level of survivability, and I think if we talk about killing infantry and this is how we're going to use this character, then I think he does that very effectively without it. But I guess the Warlord trait option is there, or Hero of the Chapter option rather, in that you would either take the Imperium Sword to get that extra strength 7 and an additional attack, which we've noted down, or you take the Area Martial Exemplar for the reroll of charges. So again, we've worked out all the damage and we've looked at it against everything that we look at each week, which is like regular infantry, characters, toughness 5 infantry with like a feel no pain, strength 7 monsters, and then strength 8 armor. And we've worked out all the damage numbers, and again, green is best and yellow is second. And then what I've done below this, remember this is a 70 point character at this point, I've actually put Commander Dante, who is 175 points, and I think a few weeks ago we looked at Dante against the Bike Captain. I'll link that video up here maybe, and Dante performed significantly worse than the Bike Captain, and I guess everybody in the Facebook group is making a Bike Captain now, or a Bike Chapter Master rather, and when you compare Dante against this Chapter Champion, again for 70 points, even without the Burning Blade or the Archangel Shard, like the damage numbers are really similar. I mean, Dante just does better against monsters and vehicles because he has that +1 strength, but I mean it's very minor against for infantry killing. This 70 point character, if you can keep him alive and get him where he needs to be, I think he is a very strong pick for Blood Angels as it currently stands. So for 55 points or 70 points, I kind of really recommend taking this character. There's quite a few things that we can do with him. We can pay that 1 CP and put him in strategic reserve. We can bring him in with the Martial Exemplar trait. Any core characters within 6 would be able to get their charge rerolls, or we can just take Imperium Sword and let him reroll his own ones and go in with our 6 strength Mastercrafted Power Sword and 8 attacks. Very good at wiping out enemy infantry. Angel's Sacrifice could also be powerful on this character, paying that 1 CP to force an enemy in close combat to use all their attacks against a 55 point character who's actually reasonably survivable, could change the tide of like a large combat engagement. We can also hide and cover to use this 6-inch heroic intervention, which is pretty nice, and if we did pay those extra 15 points, then if we do end up fighting enemy characters, being able to use that additional reroll wounds with the sword should be very powerful. I mean, especially when he's going to be hitting on 2s, 7 attacks, probably wounding on 2s or 3s, re-rolling. Very powerful there. So personally I feel Blood Angels are the most deadly once we get past turn 3, so I really like my strong, heavy hitting characters to be alive. I think this guy's no exception. If he is alive in the late game, he's going to wipe out enemy infantry very easy, so I'm probably going to take the Armor Indomitus, and based on the Mass Hammer, I think that's where we want him to land. So if you do include this company champion, you can include company veterans into your army list, and this will be 2 to 5 guys that are essentially bodyguards for this character. So they're 20 points per model, so if you throw a storm shield on them, they'd be 24 each, so 48, and for 2 of them. And they come in if you take 2 of them at 3 power level, so they could also join him in strategic reserve. And they have a special bodyguard rule that means if any character of your army is within 3 inches of these company veterans, then they cannot be targeted by ranged attacks. So essentially it kind of makes them like a bit like Lookout Sir company veterans. So And if you do that, what's really interesting is that if you have a captain in your army as well, and that would also include any captain you've upgraded to chapter master, then the company veterans and the company champion wouldn't fill like a detachment slot, which means you could still have your 6 elite unit choices, and then even though both these are elites, you can actually include them within your battalion and just overflow your elite limit. So I hope you found that video useful. Let me know in the comments down below if you've already run the company champion or the chapter champion, and after seeing this video, if it's something you're considering doing. Are you running some veterans with them to protect either the champion himself or some other key characters within your army list? If you got any value out of this video, I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button. It actually really helps my channel out. YouTube algorithm really likes comments and likes, and the more I get, the more chance other Blood Angels players will find the channel. So I appreciate it if you did that. And then if you want to discuss anything with me on an ongoing basis, then we actually have a Facebook group. The link will be in the video description below, and you can join that, where we share photos, we share tactics and army lists, and we do that pretty much every day. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for hanging out with me this week. By the blood are we made. Peace.